G'day YouTubers, Ashley the Tesla Prepper here. It's been an exciting week for me because I got my Starlink coming up now. So what's happened this last week? On Friday we received the email from Starlink saying that we would be automatically deducted the remaining balance for the Starlink units or we had 3 days to cancel it. So that's their standard process, not against it, just means that you've got to keep an eye out for the email if you don't intend to go through with your deposit. So what happened was several months ago we put down a $150 Australian deposit and we're waiting. So we are very close to the border. We assumed that we would not get it, but where we are the MDN is quite bad, so we were waiting for other options and Starlink is basically the only other option there was. So we put down $150 and we waited. And on Friday they emailed us. Me and my wife talked about it and we decided to pay the extra $650 to get the unit shipped and for $130 per month after that to have the Starlink service. So we went through, processed it, and we were given an expected date of the 18th, which was 3 weeks later. Lo and behold, a week later, having arrived from the US, even with all the COVID shipping dramas that there are, we received the unit and I plugged it in my front yard and it worked. So what have we done? So for my testing, as you'll see in the photos, I've actually used a speaker stand and just mounted the Starlink unit on top of that, just basically because my front yard where I was wanting to test it, there is a couple of obstacles and obstructions. So I'll put that photos up here. In the first few minutes of plugging it in, super simple process as long as you don't need to bolt it down. I was online, able to access the internet and ran a speed test and got well over 200 megabits per second. So very happy with that. So there was a few things that has surprised me so far, is that this little modem thing here, it doesn't have any Ethernet ports on it. So it's not like a typical home modem that you'll get from an ISP. It's basically got the one port on it used to connect to, this is the PoE injector. So basically this device itself is also a PoE device. It does have an extra port on it called AUX, which I'm not sure, there's been conflicting reports online about what it actually does and if it works. So I'm a network engineer by trade, so I'll be able to figure out how to make that work and see where we go. But in terms of connecting it up, setting your own wireless name and details, and then clicking next a couple of times in the GUI, got easy service. The only thing I've noticed so far with it is that with this unit is the only way to stow it. So using the app, you can tell it to stow. Obviously I've stowed it so that I can move it around, but I don't think you can do that without this unit. So if you plug the network cable into your own router that you've supplied rather than into this, you can then move. You might have some issues if you do decide that you need to ship it back and you have to plug it into this and stow it. It might be a bit of a pain. That being said, I do have another issue with this little device. It is pretty. It is quite pretty actually. It looks kind of like a Cybertruck type design, but it is not stable. Even while I was setting up this video with the network cable plugged into it, it would fall over a couple of times. So it's pretty, but it's not stable to physically sit on something. We had an earthquake here in Melbourne a couple of weeks ago, and I reckon it would just have toppled over. It's quite top heavy, it's not bottom heavy. So here we go. So yeah, got the Starlink unit, getting some contractors out today to help me install it on the roof. And then we'll run it through and I'll do my playing and testing and come back with a better video later. There was one thing that I had issue with and I'd suggest for people, is when you receive it, unwind the network cable and rewind it. Make sure it doesn't have any tangles. It was kind of a pain. Was just holding it in the way that it came out of the box and it just got all tangled in a tangled mess. So that was one of the things I had to do manually. Oh my god, such a pain to untangle a cable, but still, it's if you were doing an install on the roof to start with, that would have been a major issue trying to stand up on the roof untangling a cable. So that's all rewound now and ready for installation on the roof today. Here's hoping it goes well.